Good morning and evening, YouTube. Just Jeff here. Today I wanted to go over 4 tips for investing under 30. And I'm going to contrast what you hear you should do with what you should actually do to get, great results over time that will build and continue to give you gains and more prosperity. So let's get right into this. So number one, control yourself. Everybody says to control yourself. They say to control your spending. They say to get a budget. They say, all kinds of things around basically controlling yourself. Well, nobody can control their spending. And if you go to, 30, 20, 40, 50, 60-year-olds, they pretty much none of them can control their spending. And so trying to control your spending yourself is really a fruitless endeavor. And so what you want to do is, instead of trying to control your spending through budgets and artificial means, is you want to create some systems that control the money for you. A couple of those systems you've seen are a 401k. A 401k is one of the 2 ways the middle class has wealth. The second one is if you have a house, the house will grow, with inflation or increased demand over time, and that equity you don't have access to readily, unless you borrow it out. So if you take no action, then that money goes into the house, and your house payment principal goes into the house. Additional systems are, creating a different account, and on this account acting differently. You could create a Roth IRA and act differently in that account, where you put $100 a month in or $50 a month. But you want to create some systems that control your money over time. And so a system is something that's going to help control your money, not for that event, but for the event every week or every month, across the years, very consistently putting controls on your money. Now, another system I've seen people have is to create like an account with a broker, so that when they go and the market's down, they say sell everything. He says to them, no, it's not time to sell. And that is a system to control your money. So instead of trying to control yourself and what you're spending as much, focus on creating systems to control the money, and you'll be more effective. Number 2, save a lot of money. People talk about saving a lot of money, and if you have an hourly job and you're making, $12, $13, $14 an hour, you're not going to be able to save a lot of money compared to what other people are talking about saving. And so what do you do? Under 30, you're going to have a lot of those jobs especially. And so instead of focusing on saving an amount, talk about saving a high percentage of your money. Because I can tell you that if you take someone making $20,000 and you save 10%, which is, $2,000 a year, and you take someone making $100,000 and you save 10%, which is $10,000 a year, it's actually going to be similar difficulty for each person. So number 2 is, instead of focusing on the amount of money that you're saving as the goal, instead focus on the percent of your money that you're saving relative to your income, because that's what's going to build you freedom. Because if someone makes $1 million a year and they spend $1 million a year, they need a different amount to be wealthy and independent than you do if you're only making $25,000 a year. So if you're making $25,000 a year and you're spending $25,000 a year, 10 years expenses may be $250,000. Them, it might be $10 million. So they need a lot more money to maintain their lifestyle. Number 3, they talk about building a business, and they talk about, starting a business and then continuing to plow your profits into the business to grow the business. Well, what if the business fails? What if the only reason the business is going is from plowing the profits, you're not making any money? Should that be your focus? What if you only have the business for 2 years? What do you take away from the business that would benefit you? And I would say, to instead of focus on building a business, as you make decisions on that money that you're making on a business or an eBay selling, or selling on Amazon, or your job, you focus on growing that money somehow. And so your decision is less about growing your business and more about making the incremental decisions that are going to start growing your money over time. Is that in the business? Is that in a new business? Is that in your house? I mean, over time, you're going to have to look at where you are growing your money at the most successfully, and then put some of the money back into those things or that particular area. Number 4, increasing your total compensation. You get on Blind and everybody is looking at their total compensation. TC is 150,000. There's 250,000. Whatever the TC is what they're talking about. But if their total compensation is 300,000 a year, and they're spending 320,000 a year, they're not wealthy. And so instead of focusing your decisions on what you're making per year, so that it would drive you to continually, change jobs to an incremental improvement, focus on what's allowing you to increase your net worth. Every decision that you make, say, how does this change my net worth? As opposed to, I'm making $13 an hour and now I'm making $15. Focus back on how does this help me with what I'm supposed to be doing, which is increasing my net worth. Maybe you make $15 an hour, but actually are able to increase your net worth less because your cost of living is higher. Maybe the job doesn't help facilitate that because you're working too much. So make decisions based on things that help you be more successful in creating systems to control your money. So let's say you have a 401k. That system's going. You switch jobs. Okay, so make sure you get to go on the new job. Or don't switch jobs, because that's a large risk in there. So for me, I sold a house. I sold a house, make X amount of profits. So what system do I have to take those profits and put them into a wise location? And at what percent, efficiency can I do that? Can I do all of it? Or does part of it naturally get spent because it goes through me and I'm the risk? So those type of things you're thinking about and trying to make decisions on. So instead of controlling yourself, you're creating systems to control. Instead of focusing on saving a lot of money, you're focusing on investing a high percentage. And so it's going to a controlled location, and you're looking at what percent you're doing that on. Instead of just building a business and continuing to grow that business with the money, you're focused on growing the asset, the money, which assets is the right place to reinvest your money at each point in time. And instead of just focusing on your income, you're going to focus on what you can do to increase your net worth, that savings rate, the investment rate, and what you do with that money as opposed to how much that money is. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I've got a couple links down below to crypto accounts you can open to make some passive income on crypto or stablecoin that I've covered in other videos. So use those. I think you get a little bit, I get a little bit if you open it. And have a great day, and I'll talk to you later.